everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List, and we have already read a lot. I am actually feeling very good about myself. I am very hopeful that this week we'll have lots of reading, and hopefully I'm right. So let's just get into it. Okay, so it is Tuesday around noon. Yesterday, classes started for the semester, and this semester both of my classes are on campus, which means that I have to drive to campus 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. It's about a 40-minute drive each way. So while that is frustrating and majorly messing with my routines, including my sleep, it does mean that I have a lot of time for audiobooks, which is great, and that's what I'm choosing to focus on because everything else is kind of annoying. So yesterday I started listening to Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, and because I drove to and from school, I also had a book club meeting in Chicago last night, so I drove to and from Chicago. And then I also drove to and from school today. I have now listened to 67% of Mrs. Dalloway. So I think this is a great start of the week. I will finish it tomorrow on my way to work, I believe. Or maybe my way home. I will finish it tomorrow. So that's the good part. The not so good part is that this book is taking my fatigue from having COVID and just ramping it up to 11. It is making me so tired. Okay, look. I only know what's happening in the plot because I looked up the Wikipedia summary. It just will change perspectives in the middle of I'm assuming the middle of a page. I'm listening to it, so I don't know. But in the middle of a chapter, in the middle of a page, whatever. I want to say in the middle of a sentence. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what it feels like. It also doesn't tell you what perspective it's changing to. It'll just change you to a different character. It also involves a lot of flashbacks that are like unannounced because they're like memories, which if you watched my vlog, my travel vlog from a couple weeks ago, I had a major issue with in Snow Falling on Cedars, and I actually DNF'd the book because of that. I'm not DNFing this one because I'm almost done. And it's short. But oof, it's annoying. And I'm just getting lost. And I was really hoping, because I had previously tried to read Mrs. Dalloway, and the last time I tried to read it was actually when I had COVID the last time, which I want to say was like 2 years ago. That sounds about right. 2 years ago. Maybe 3. But I didn't get past like the second page because I was getting lost in it, and it felt like gibberish to me. And I thought that was because of the COVID. I don't think it's because of COVID anymore. It might be because like I did have COVID this week. Or, this past week, and so I'm still recovering from it, so it might be because of the COVID, but I don't think it is. I think this book is just nonsense. Like, I feel so bad for saying this, because I've had this book on my TBR for so long. I wanted to like it. I just don't think that I do. I don't like the writing style. That's my main thing. Also, I don't mind the actual, like, characters. I think they're interesting. I think they're well developed. I just think that the way they're being presented in this like nonsensical, like, oh, I'm in this person's perspective, now I'm in this person's perspective, now we're reflecting on memory from 30 years ago, like that way is not presenting them in the best light. The other thing is that for, I want to say a solid like 2 hours, which is like until the 3rd chapter, I think, I thought Mrs. Dalloway was like 18. Because at one point it said like she was 18, but that was apparently a memory. She's actually in her 50s. So, a synopsis, now that I've complained. Mrs. Dalloway is about Mrs. Dalloway. It's following her in a day. The entire book takes place over a day, except for all the memories, where she is, you know, setting up and preparing for a party she's hosting that night. This also involves like reconnecting with someone that she used to love and sort of reflecting on her marriage. We also follow that guy Peter. We also follow her husband Richard. We also follow a random soldier who World War I has just ended. He has PTSD, and he has a wife who is, you know, very lonely because he's not present, and all this sort of stuff. So we have a lot of different people we're following throughout this day. And it's a lot, and I feel like it could have been presented better or just more clearly. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just frustrating. So I will finish it tomorrow. I'm not expecting a high rating, which sucks because the 2 books that I've finished so far this year were in the 3-star range, and I think this is gonna be even lower. So yeah, we're starting off 2025 great. Low rated books and COVID. I love that for me. But that's my reading update. So I'm gonna try to get more energy, because I know I'm like talking a lot and talking fast, and so you think that I have energy. I don't. I'm totally faking it. And yeah, I will check in with you guys later with how much more I've read. Hopefully I can read a physical book as well, you know, as almost completing an audiobook. Good morning. I am kind of freaking out. Just because with going to campus 4 days in a row, with the driving time, with working full time, I don't know what I'm going to be able to read for fun outside of audiobooks. Like this, I think I'll be able to read for fun tomorrow. Because it's my day off. I have class, and then I'll talk to my dad, and then I have personal training, and then I have a writing date. But in between that, I have like free time. So I should be able to read then. But I'm just feeling very like overwhelmed. I did read last night. I read for class, but I read. So I'm hoping I'll be able to finish less by the end of the week. We'll see. Okay. I'm just going to talk about what I read instead of like my future plans. So yesterday, I read 3 things. What did I read? Where's my phone? Because I know I read my 2 textbooks. Oh, so I listened to another like hour and a half of Mrs. Dalloway, which I think I talked about already. Yeah. So I will finish that tonight. I have 3 chapters left. By the way, there aren't chapters. The audiobook is just broken into 45-minute chunks. So I have 3 chunks left, which will be on my way to school, on my way to work, and then on my way home. So I will finish it tonight, which is great. I need to... Actually, let's just go ahead and see. Since I'm not recording it on my phone, I can actually use my phone. Let's see what I'm going to listen to next. So I'll take that one out. There aren't that many options. My next audiobook will be... Okay. It'll be Broken Strings, which is a middle grade, I believe, which will actually should be pretty short. So that's cool. Anyway, now that that's taken care of, I'm so like I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I'm very scattered, and I'm very sorry about that. When I got home, I ended up with one of my meetings getting canceled, so I had a little bit more time So I cleaned the table, which, like, I know you can't see the whole table, but you can see half of it. And if you look at yesterday's clip, that half was messy. So I cleaned the table. That felt really nice. And then I used the robot vacuum and mop and did the downstairs. So while that was going, because I like to be around to make sure that it doesn't, you know, like get stuck or get into anywhere that it shouldn't be, I started reading The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole, which is the first Gothic novel that I'm reading for my Gothic literature class. I read half of, like, the introduction. I skimmed the preface, but judging by what was uploaded to my class's, like, thing, we're probably gonna read the introduction or the preface today. And then I read the first chapter. So, first chapter is about 37 pages long. A lot happened. So the Castle of Otranto is... It's about this guy, whose name I can't remember, honestly. Winfred? I don't think that's right. I think it may be a W. May something. Mayhew? I don't know. I'll put it up somewhere. He really loves his son, but his son is very, like, infirm and sick and not long for this world. He ends up getting killed on the second page by the helmet of a statue, it seems like. And this sends the dad into a rage. He accuses, you know, a random peasant that just sort of points out that, like, the helmet looks a lot like the one that was on the statue of this, like, saint at a church. So that peasant ends up getting locked up. And then the dad goes insane, frankly. And then he spends most of the first chapter chasing his dead son's betrothed because he's decided that he will marry her. And he's quite clearly chasing her in order to assault her. So that's the first chapter. And judging by how much happened in that first chapter, I don't know what's going to happen in the other 5. Because that was a lot. I am enjoying this because my teacher actually helped reframe Gothic literature for me. Because a couple months ago I tried listening to Wuthering Heights, I found it ridiculous, and I soft DNF'd it at like 10%. I have also read, like, Jane Eyre. I also read Rebecca, which I actually really liked, which is interesting. But my exposure to Gothic literature is not a lot. And the Bronte sisters, in particular, do not endear Gothic literature to me. And so I was sort of dreading it because especially with Wuthering Heights, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. But my teacher reframed it. She pointed out that, like, at the time, these novels were not considered serious literature. Like, they're not serious literature. They are very trope heavy. They, you know, rely on suspending your disbelief. She compared it to a lot of, like, romance novels today that, like, not to say that romance novels are bad. I love romance novels. But there are some where you have to, like, suspend your disbelief of, like, okay, that would never happen. And they rely on tropes, and that's what Gothic literature was at the time. And so as soon as she said, like, this isn't serious literature, it's never been considered serious literature, that, like, at the time these were, like, the fun books, the, like, kind of mindless books that you just read for entertainment. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. It's interesting, though, that because that's how they were viewed at the time, but they still had, like, a deeper meaning of, like, fighting against tyranny and fighting against people who, like, have power but, like, are misusing it. So it's very interesting. I'm actually very intrigued now. So there was that. And then I also read the first chapter of Literary Theory, A Very Brief Introduction by Jonathan Culler, which I'm reading for my theory investigation class. It was confusing, which my teacher told me it would be. Because it's theory, you know, it's theoretical. It's just asking questions about the thing. And just the way that the arguments were presented, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna struggle in this class. So, yeah, that'll be fun. But that's what I read yesterday. So I read a decent amount for school. Yeah, I'm nervous about when I can read for fun. I think reading for fun might be relegated to like purely the weekend, which kind of sucks. But I have Monday off from class, so that will make me feel a little bit better because that's 3 hours that I get. Okay. That's it. This is a longer clip. I rambled, and now I'm gonna go to class and then work, and I will talk to you probably tomorrow. Okay, I have to make this very quick. I'm on my way to class, but I did finish Mrs. Dalloway last night. All of my complaints from the week still stand. I only know what was going on because of Wikipedia. Character jumps, weird logic on the part of Clarissa Dalloway. It wasn't for me. I gave it 2.5 stars. I was not into it. I will be probably putting it on my Pango. It was disappointing, frankly. So that's really all I read yesterday. I am about to go to class, so I will be listening to Broken Strings, and honestly, I don't know how the chapters are broken up. I wouldn't be surprised if I finish it tomorrow night, because I have about 1.5 hours of driving today to and from school, and then tomorrow I have 1.5 hours to work, probably like 1.5 hours to Temple, and then 1.5 hours home. And it's only on single speed, it's like 6 hours and 50 minutes. But if I'm listening at 1.3 speed, which is my usual, that goes down to like 5 hours. So I should finish it tomorrow night, which is great. I love that for me. And hopefully it is better than Mrs. Dalloway. And I should be able to follow this because it's middle grade. It was written this century. I have nothing against classic literature. If you've been watching my vlogs, you know that I read quite a bit of classic literature, actually. This was just, to me, is a mess. I would love to hear from anyone who loves Mrs. Dalloway, just to get a different perspective and maybe about some things that I missed, but I couldn't focus, and it just felt like gibberish to me. I'm really sorry about that. So yeah, that's what's going on. Very quick update, but like I said, I have to go to class. So I will probably check in tonight or tomorrow morning, let you know about Broken Strings. I'm also hoping that I will be able to read more today. So, good morning, everyone. Okay, so I know I said I would probably finish Broken Strings last night. I didn't. I have 1 hour left. But I listened to probably, I listened to 60% of it yesterday, which I think is pretty good. So I'm really enjoying it, actually, which I was looking at my reading tracker, the 3 books that I have finished this year so far have not gotten the best ratings. I don't have anything above a 3.5. So the fact that I am enjoying Broken Strings is really nice. It is obviously not a genre that I read a lot. I don't read a lot of middle grade books because obviously the characters are younger, they're early teens, you know, they're kind of immature, which makes sense. But I am enjoying this. Essentially, Broken Strings, I don't know if I've talked about the summary at all, but Broken Strings is about a girl, Shirley, who her school is doing a production of Fiddler on the Roof, and she is cast into the part of Golda, which is Tevia's wife. And her grandfather is a Holocaust survivor, and his mother would have, been alive and gone through the pogroms from, when Fiddler is set in the early 1900s. And so she asks, her grandfather if, she can look through some of his stuff in the attic, see if there's anything to be used for props. And while she's doing that, she finds this violin and a poster for a klezmer band. She brings that to her grandfather, and he gets very upset. And it is revealed that his family is the band. They were a musical band. They traveled throughout Poland and Eastern Europe playing klezmer music until World War II, and his family were captured by Nazis and taken to Auschwitz. So, obviously there are heavy moments, but I do appreciate the emotion of what Shirley is discovering about her family, and the relationship between Shirley and her grandfather, or her Zeta, is lovely. They're so close. They're so honest about what they're feeling and how much they love each other, and so I really enjoy the communication in this book, except for Shirley's mom is not super present. She's an OB, and so she's often gone. But when she's there, it feels like she's there just to, like, information bomb. And so, like, after Shirley finds the violin and her grandfather gets, angry with her for like a day, Shirley, is talking to her mom about it, and her mom is like, well, in 1939, the Nazis were really picking up, and your grandfather was taken to a concentration camp, and this is what the concentration camp was and how it operated and all the people who died there. And it was very, like, it was like reading a Wikipedia article where I'm like, I just don't think that that's how that conversation would go. Like, and then there was another part about how Shirley is talking about the role of Golda and how she feels about it, and wanting to understand the character more or something like that. And her mom is like, well, like, I keep picturing her, like, and she's like, your grandfather's mother would have, been alive in that time, grew up in a shtetl, and these are what the pogroms were, and this is, how it impacted the people in the shtetls, and all this. It just is an information dump. It was just presented in a very, like, jarring way. So I'm never looking forward to when Shirley's mom is in a scene, because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get an information dump. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. So I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be like a 4-star. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I think last time I filmed a clip was Thursday morning, which, by the way, I'm very sorry I haven't had a lot of B-roll. Like, a lot of this is just clip to clip to clip to clip, because I've just been so busy. I haven't done anything worth filming. So far I have 1 clip of B-roll. And I filmed that last night. So, yeah, sorry. Anyway, last time I filmed was Thursday morning, and I believe the only other thing, because I started listening to Broken Strings Thursday morning, the only other thing that I read was a chapter of Internal Family Systems. That's it. That's all I read. I am hopeful, because today is my day off. I obviously don't have any school, because it's a Saturday. I am hopeful that I'm able to get some reading done today. Even though I will be spending time with Chris, because I also haven't seen him all week. Like, I've seen him, but, like, we've not interacted. Like, the most we interacted since Monday was when I got home from Temple last night, and I fell asleep on him. Like, we were sitting on the couch together, and I fell asleep. that's the most time I've spent with my husband since Monday. I'm doing super great. So yeah, but I am hoping that I will be able to get some reading done today, which I should, because I use my spinning wheel for my decision making of what I'm going to do, and because I haven't read the like fiction book that I'm reading for fun, that's the only thing that gets read off my to-do list on a certain day, because I haven't done that since Monday. That spot on the spinning wheel is bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's no reason I shouldn't read at least a little bit today. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and update my spinning wheel and do whatever it tells me. So hopefully that's read. Okay, I need to put books back on the dining room table because I'm like hunched over because the sun isn't up yet, so I can't do it in front of the window because there's no point. It doesn't help with the lighting. Anywho, so that's why I'm like this. I wanted to film a clip real quick because I finished reading Less last night. I went ahead and read, 160 pages or something. No, like 210 pages, yeah. So that felt good. I was not a huge fan of the writing style. I prefer like a limited omniscient narrator, and I prefer it being written from the perspective of the main character, which this was not. I can't explain it. It's just like the entire book, like sometimes it would break the fourth wall, and it would feel weird when that happened, because then I'm less focused on Less and more focused on figuring out like who is the narrator, which is not the point of the book. So if I haven't talked about it in this vlog, which I don't think I have because I think it has been a week since I've read this book, Less is about a guy who is about to turn 50. He just got out of a like 9-year situationship and has been invited to that situationship's wedding. And instead of just saying like, no, it'd be weird, instead of saying that, he decides to book himself all these different events that he's been invited to as like an author. And they have him, traveling pretty much all around the world, mostly in the Eastern Hemisphere. Mostly, is it the? I guess it would have to be Europe and Africa, and a little bit of Asia. I just had a brain fart on geography. Anyway, and so he goes to like 6 different places, and in order to avoid this wedding, in order to have like a good excuse besides like, no, we're kind of exes, that'd be weird. And in the midst of that, he learns some things about himself. He reflects on like a prior relationship that he had before the situationship. And so it is, it's okay. Like I said, like the writing style wasn't my preferred style, which automatically means it's not going to get a super high rating for me. I couldn't really connect to it. And then the plot, while interesting, I wasn't a huge fan of Less. There's nothing wrong with him. He's literally described as perfectly average. But it feels like there's no substance to him. So yeah, it was fine. I probably won't read it again. I probably won't read the sequel because I just don't need to. I gave it a 3.5 star. it was fun. I pretty much, this has taught me that, like, I am correct to not read a book because it's hyped and because it has an award. Like, this won a Pulitzer, which I don't disagree with. I can see why it won, but that doesn't mean that I will like it. So I need to remember that when I'm, like, book shopping. Just because a book has, you know, an award on it, a very prestigious award, doesn't necessarily mean that it will be to my taste, which I think is fair. So yeah, there is that. So I wanted to pop on and talk about that. Today I have a very busy day at work, but I am going to the office, so I will finish listening to Broken Strings because I think I have like 55 minutes left. So I will probably tonight or tomorrow morning pop in with what my rating for that was. I'm expecting to be like a 4-star. And then if I'm able to, I will continue reading The Castle of Otranto because I need to have that read for class. So, yeah, that's about it. So I will check in later. Hi everyone, I'm back. My spinning wheel told me to film a clip while I, have a break in between meetings. So I finished listening to Broken Strings. I really enjoyed it. For obviously middle grade is not what I typically read, but for being a middle grade, I did really enjoy it. I thought it did what it was aiming to really well. So, and I really liked the ending. It was very like heartfelt, and it made me just go like, oh, like it was very lovely. So I thought it was really well done. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was just that good. Obviously, I gave it a little bit more grace because it was middle grade. Obviously, there wasn't going to be like a ton of like character development or a ton of like subtlety or anything, so I was maybe a little more free with the higher rating, but I did enjoy it, and honestly that's the most important thing. Especially with all the other books I've finished this year, like this is the first one that's above a 4-star, which I think is great. So what I'm going to do is I may read more of The Castle of Otranto, just in between meetings. But on my way home, I'm going to start listening to, the Rulebook for Restless Rogues. So I'll, start listening to that. And yeah, that's the plan. So there's going to be, hopefully, a lot of reading today. So I will definitely come back later or in a bit with more of a reading update. So, hi everyone. It is Monday evening. I started listening to the rulebook for Restless Rogues yesterday. Obviously, I checked in after I finished listening to Broken Strings, and then on my way home, I started a new audiobook. The rulebook for Restless Rogues is a sequel that takes place about 2 years after, oh crap, what is it? The Gentleman's Book of Vices, I think. I'll put it up as well. And it's following the proprietor of a Molly house, David, and his relationship with his best friend from school, Noah. Now, this is gonna be a friends to lovers and a second chance romance, because it seems like David and Noah had a thing, in their teen, young adult life, which would have been like 15 years before the story takes place, where they like made out and stuff. I don't think they've ever actually had sex, but they're very cute. They love each other so much. It's very sweet. I had to go and look at my copy of The Gentleman's Book of Vices because I could have sworn that in that the owner of the, or the proprietor of the Molly House, it's not the owner, was an old guy. I could have sworn that it was like an elderly man. So I was very confused where David came in, because he's not old. I want to say maybe 30, maybe around there. But I looked, and he's always been that age. there wasn't another older guy or anything. I just pictured him wrong and was very confused. So yeah, I am enjoying it. I only listened to like a little over an hour and a half, so it's still very early in the book, but I already know that I like Jess Everlee's writing, so I'm expecting to like it. I also, since I'm here, I also read another chapter of Internal Family Systems, so I'm past the 75% mark. So that is nice, because it's a little boring, and it's to the part of the book that doesn't really apply to me anymore, or my therapy, but I'm going to keep reading it because I want it to count as a book that I read. So there's that. Otherwise, I've just been doing homework, working on things for my to-do list. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this vlog. I'm going to go ahead and edit it. And then I'm going to continue doing, you know, things. I don't know. I do feel bad because I'm very aware that most of this vlog is just clips. There's not a ton of B-roll because I really haven't done much. The first week of school was hard. It was very hard. I haven't had 2 on-campus classes in a very long time. And I just didn't realize it was going to be so much. I'm feeling very overwhelmed. But what can you do? So I will try to get better, but just think of it this way, you're getting very fast updates about my reading. Yay. Anyway, thank you for watching this vlog. I do appreciate it, especially because like this isn't the type of vlog that I like to do. I like to include lots of B-roll so you know what else is going on in my life, but quite frankly, not a lot is going on. So thank you for watching. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.